Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Shweta.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good. You know, we've had a kind of bit of a perfect storm with it's not just Devstars. It's in October, the three mortgages
I heard
virtually
about
tripled.
it. Hmm.
And uh, it's been quite a stressful kind of process. And for the last year or so, what we used to do, Miles and I, was pay ourselves next to nothing and then pay ourselves dividends to kind of top up and make things work. And it did work for a while, but as you rightly said when you saw us, we're gradually getting paid less and less and less, and it actually feels like it. Certainly moving to, probably one of the most expensive places on the planet, it feels like that even more so. And I guess with the interest rates going and London Web Design Agency, the algorithms on Google really didn't work
Pressure.
in our favor
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Got hammering off that.
Hmm.
The combination of the war and the Minsk Lukashenko regime has meant that we haven't really been able to build Dimitri's team.
Mm-hmm.
And the outsourcing that we've done is expensive and not as good.
Mm-hmm.
We're still getting some teething problems with that. I feel that the industry, when I started doing this back in 96, 97, you were treated as some sort of like magician slash wizard.
I know, right?
Uh,
Branding
uh,
guys, creative
uh,
guys.
yeah, and then about 3 or 4 years later, kind of, and Flash came out, and all these other programs came out, and everyone was building websites. And now there seems so many people that are actually going after that web design and development business that a generic web design and development agency is never going to cut it. Now, we're struggling. I mean, we did really well for a while with, our team in Minsk. Costs were down. We could charge a decent fee. We probably should have always been charging more. We've kind of missed the boat on that a little bit now. But what we've got is, 25, 30 plus years of experience each between Miles and myself and Dimitri. And looking at the figures from last year, it seems that where we do make money is actually on the consultancy side and actually developing the concepts and the ideas and, coming up with these, the ways that you can harness the technology and new technology. I sat chatting to some people at the weekend about, uh, you know, we were talking about law in Jersey and about how it differs from English law. And I was saying, well, you just create a GPT, and you just load it with all of Jersey's laws, and then you can use that to get the basic information that you actually need. And they're going, well, and the guy that I was talking to works for Lloyd's Bank, and he was going, we should be doing that within Lloyd's. So he's trying to speak to someone there to actually see if they can get us in talking to them about providing these sort of solutions. I guess I find it a little bit difficult to figure out how you actually sell consultancy without actually just giving away all the ideas. And I guess you've got to kind of fake it till you make it a little bit, really.
Okay, so we'll discuss a little bit more as in what needs to happen in 24 and beyond. But let me first say hi to Miles as well. Hi, Miles. Good to
Hi
see
there.
you.
Nice to see you
So,
too. How you
yeah,
doing?
good to see you. Keeping well.
Average.
What's up?
Average.
Why average?
Oh.
Developers.
Feeling a little frazzled, that's all.
You're about to travel, right?
I've travelled. I'm now in the UK. I'm at my parents, and then I'm going to see Stuart tomorrow.
You're not feeling well?
Just it's been a bit busy for a while.
Okay.
Production wise, we've got like this whole Christmas through to this, and the three big things, or two or three big projects we got, are all finishing this week. So kind of December into January has been
Busy.
just busy. That's all.
Sorry. Okay. Okay, got it. Health-wise, you're okay, right? Both of you are.
Yeah, I haven't got anything I need to go to hospital for.
No, please don't. Please don't do that.
Exactly.
And Stuart, how is your health? First, tell me that, and then we'll talk about business side of things. Like, are you feeling a little bit more stable, and health-wise, are you in control? You're okay?
Yeah, I am. I'm kind of feel like I'm bordering on panic attacks a lot of the time.
Is it still happening even now? Like,
Yeah, to a
that's
degree.
what Del would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
My heart, I think, I had some issues with my heart a few years back, and had operation, and from time to time I get AF come back, but I have a kind of pill in my pocket to take. That came on, and I, you take the drugs, and it goes away. But I was very aware that why it actually happened this time round, and I kind of just feel a bit overwhelmed by it all.
Okay. Okay. Tell me, what's your fear? What's the worst fear you have in your mind? What gives you these panic attacks or these palpitations? What are you worrying about? What's the worry?
I guess it's kind of dropping the ball, really, and I feel like there's there seems to be a lot of things to do, and I keep trying to sort of like move myself back onto kind of like focusing on rocks, but there's, even though I don't even deal with any of the production side of things anymore, the new stuff that we're bringing in, for instance, I'm winning bits and pieces, and I keep remembering what someone was talking about you a while back. I think it might have even been your husband, about one of your best qualities was how you say no to people. And I think that because the whole cold calling thing, I don't think has worked particularly well for us. And we can go into why in a bit, but when we've had things that have come in, and when we've actually got results from new clients, even though they're small clients, I feel like I need to try and make them work, because I feel like it's part of the new business. So I feel like I've always got a load of things to do, but the returns from them don't feel that big, and it doesn't feel sustainable as to be operating in that way, I guess.
Okay, I hear that. So I'm going back to your initial answer, saying my fear is that I'm dropping balls, or I'm dropping the ball. So
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, that you did cold calling and you're also trying to nurture smaller clients, but then they don't feel worth the time and energy because, yeah, it's just too time taking. But you feel, yeah, this is how it needs to be done. But again, I'm try to think it very clearly. Just tell me in one sentence, saying what's the core fear? What's the fear that's causing you maybe sleepless night? What's the worry?
I mean, I actually sleep pretty well.
Quite well. Okay, so that's
But,
causing worry during the day to it.
I think the core fear is that we're working hard and we're not really getting anywhere, we're kind of flailing around in the water. And
how are you measuring that, Stuart?
Well, I don't think the last year, I don't think I've ever worked as hard as I have over the last year.
Okay.
Every moment I get, and working late into the evening, writing blog posts, and I'm the amount of focus is huge, but the results don't seem to be coming through off it.
Okay, so that's what has really disappointed you, that you've put in so much hard work. It's like every bit that you've put into the business, but you're not seeing the results in line with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that has taken the enthusiasm out of you, just like deflated you a little bit, or quite.
You know what? I've still got a lot of enthusiasm. It's just that every now and again, it kind of, it kind of hits me.
Okay, and I will show you something, but just before that, so in terms of the numbers, if I just look at purely at the numbers, right, P&L of Devstars compared to 22, what do you see? What are you and Miles seeing in that? What movements have you seen?
I think Miles is probably best. Miles has got the figures. Miles
No, I
has.
want you to tell me, not Miles. I want you to tell me
What I have seen
yeah.
is that the first half of the year, we did amazing. We kind of made, we were probably 30% up at the start of the year and 30% down at the end of the year. I guess we lost Sort, which was our big client before we started working with you.
Yep.
And we won Whole Shot, and that kind of took over from Sort to a degree. But halfway through the year, we lost on the algorithm with Google, and I think that 50% of our work was coming in from the majority of the new business was coming from LWDA. So that's why we ended up with a year of two halves, really.
Okay, so there is a very clear reason as to what happened with Google algorithms and what happened in the second half of the year. But first half of the year was very strong, and then second half of the year got impacted. Yeah. Miles, do you see any movement in P&L? Do you see any top line movement?
Yeah,
or GP or net
I think there was a lot of learning in 2024, and although it was, there is a lot of hard work involved in that, especially doing something differently and having an actual approach to it where you analytically look at months, new business, what's coming in, what's going out. I coupled that, so the first half of the year we were kind of riding on a wave really, and Whole Shot really helped that. And actually looking back on it, we've learned that is a good way of making money. The margins are much better in there, the consultancy side, the design, the branding, everything else like that. It proves a concept in a way to take on. So, but while you're in a process going through growth and you're thinking the idea that you're going to grow, you ramp up production. So all of our systems sort of slightly enlarged. So we had extra developing houses, and to try all of those things and to get systems on board is a lot of effort. So from my perspective, I don't think, getting all of these new systems on board, changing your processes, making sure that you've documented everything, making sure that everybody's aligned with a new way of working was really hard work. And while you're doing that, you kind of got your head down and your bum in the air, and you're kind of sort of making this. So the production side's ramping up, ready for new business, and new business didn't arrive through various algorithms and all sorts of reasons. And so the two things kind of crossed over, and the
directions
P&L, at the end of it was taken away from the start of it. So I can see why it all happened. And what needs to happen is that, of course, you're going to learn from all of those mistakes and kind of go, all right, well, we know the good systems now. We know what we can do and what we should do. And you know how long it takes to onboard new development houses, make sure they're one of your own and they're working for you rather than against you. And you're not like spending tons of money on development just purely because they want to just charge you for everything and you want to just get a cost agreed. And, you know where the profit is then. That's always going to be really tough with new agencies, partner agencies. And you slowly get there. But, it was a shame because that sort of drop off of new sales, there was nothing really coming into it. So we ended up breaking even pretty much on the year, which after a year of a lot of work, I think we made more money, actual turnover. It was more than the year before. So it's all about taking what we did right and what we did wrong and then adjusting it for this year. And trying to make sure it's kind of, you use the systems, you don't have to reinvent the wheel again through 24.
Absolutely. And Miles, tell me, how much did we do in 22? What was our turnover in 22?
About 460, I think it is, top of my head. And then we were about 540
something?
Yeah.
35, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was 460. So it was like 17% growth, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Stuart, I'll show you something. Nearly a year back. Can you read?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think Sean, I muted you by chance. So it says, these are your notes, right? Develop both Devstars and LWDA into leading web agencies in their own niches over the next 10 years. Enjoy the process and then sell the businesses.
Yeah.
Does anything stand out for you in these two sentences?
Enjoy the process.
Yeah.
You know what? I on the whole, I do. I sometimes wonder if the things that I enjoy aren't the things that make the money. Well, actually, you know what? I think that actually engaging with, with clients and working on ideas,
creative, the design, yeah, that's what you love. Ideation
is I enjoy that process, and I'm even enjoying the learning about the sales process and actually engaging with people on that front as well. So yeah, I mean, it's I'm not it's not all bad, really.
Sure, I'll say something, and I'm coming from the place of care. So you have to understand the essence of it rather than, just focus on how I'm delivering it because I'm not very good with words. But seriously, looking at you and looking, especially, the whole health thing, because I do care, and I know Ollie's there, and you love him, you dote over him, and Adele is in the background. So it's a beautiful family, and I know how much you want to take care of the team and how you want to grow the business. And when I look at all the results at the end of the year, and I did speak to you in the last quarter of the last year, if you remember, and I did convey to you that how proud I am. And Miles, this goes for you too, because it's for the entire team. And I don't convey my compliments, and you know this, I'm not easy with my compliments. And when I'm saying it, it's not so much on the outcome, it's more on the efforts, Stuart. And it's you getting that focus, that drive, that commitment to saying, yeah, let's make this happen. I really want to take this forward. It's getting that boost of energy and moving forward. Okay. I've seen that. And then when I look at the results in the business and when I look at the top line growth, the overall UK economy, I'm talking about UK economy or even any economy for that matter of fact, world economy has not even grown by 1% last year. Not even by 1%, it's 0.3%, right? Your business has grown by 17 to 18% top line. Now, I'll give you a scenario, Stuart, where despite all these efforts with algorithm going wrong and everything or whatever, just all the efforts, the business remained flat. We did not cross 500,000 mark. You did not get into that 16% club, which I talked to you about in the first call that I had with you, which is more than 500,000 and less than 1 million. That 16% club, only 16 out of 100 businesses ever get to cross in that, or get to cross that 500,000 mark.
Yeah.
And this research, if you remember, I talked about 26 million businesses researched. Only 16% of the businesses get to cross 500,000. You
And we
are,
crossed,
say that again?
and we crossed it.
You are in that 16% club, for fuck's sake. I'm sorry, but that's my emotion right now. And you need to acknowledge it for yourself. Now, I understand the pain that you've put in so much effort, which you hadn't put in the earlier years, that drive, that focus, that ambition, and did you did apply yourself to it. But you know what? In your that write-up, two things stood out for me. Next 10 years and enjoying the
Long term.
process.
Yeah.
Next 10 years, Stuart, if this is what you have in you and you think you've given it your best and now you're completely depleted, then you know what? Yeah, that's the level of the business. Yeah, we'll kind of go back to 450, 500,000, we'll stay kind of there. Or if you're like, as Miles has pointed out, and as you have said, that actually there are massive learnings, because now we know from 24, from 23 that we have grown top line. Yeah, sure, our bottom line has not grown. I get it. And there are very clear reasons. I can see the numbers. It's kind of like telling me exactly what's the issue. And we have to now get the learnings forward into 24 and say, okay, now what? And you know what, Stuart and Miles, I'm telling you right now, in 24, again, things will not go per the plan. You will have another set of learnings. If Thomas Edison would have been like, yeah, I've got this one bulb not working, fuck it, I'm not going to work on it. It's like, how many times something doesn't work at least, right? You're getting closer to what's working and you've got 10 years of runway for yourself. It's not going to take 9 years of hard work, but it could be. But it's about saying resilience. We know this doesn't work now. Amazing. We've tested it, doesn't work. I know I don't like making cold calls. Great, good stuff. Not going to do that anymore. Okay, what does really work? This works. Let's take that forward. But you need crazy amount of resilience to it, because we are literally rebuilding the company. And you have grown by 18%. You have to acknowledge it. It's tough out there, for God's sake, with interest rates, with companies going bust every day. The number of companies, you are in 24, you're alive. You guys are thinking.
That's,
also in the year when you lost your biggest client, also.
That was my biggest. I think that was my biggest concern, was that we'd go bust.
And we have grown by 18%, keeping bottom line wherever it was, exactly at the same level, maybe.
But it felt like, I remember a couple of years ago when we had like 100 grand, before COVID, we had like 100 grand in the bank, and, there was buffer there. And now whenever I look at the accounts, the buffer's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And, the opportunity, you can't even think about taking a dividend when it's like that big. But it feels like it's, it could, if things continued, because we had a bad Q3, and we were going, okay, well, we're going to try and get it up on Q4, and I think were we level on Q4, Miles?
Yeah, we got a few months where we thought we were going to get to 50k in the month.
Yeah, and then but it didn't seem to be getting any better, and I just thought, you know what, if we continue at this level, we've done it for 6 months now. If we continue at this level, in 3 months' time, we won't have a business. That's my biggest fear.
Okay, so what will happen if we don't have business? Seriously, like, imagine this business is gone. Then what will you do?
I would probably, well, it always goes on about me going and getting a job for a company over here, because but I wouldn't want to do that. I could do exactly what I'm doing now on my own, and I'd probably earn the same that probably earn more than with Devstars. But I don't want to do that. I want to make Devstars work, and so
but why so much?
I felt like in the first thing that we needed to do was to try and cut costs as much as we could in the short term,
Mhm.
regroup ourselves, which is what we're doing. I'm well aware that a lot of the cost and expenditure in 2023 was us retooling, and figuring out kind of what works and what doesn't work, and doing a lot of our experimentation, and that we really should be in a good position now to actually push forward. All the work that we did as far as kind of like blogging and the rest on Devstars, we went from was it last 3 months of 3 months ago, a year ago, we had 360 clicks to the website. The last 3 months we had 2,000 clicks to the website. So we've multiplied the web traffic, organic web traffic from Devstars by 6. It wasn't converting. We've rebuilt the website. New website's live now. I think it looks really, really great, and we've got some really good tools in there. We've got free site audit and downloadable launch checklists. We're writing articles targeting real estate and creative agencies, which is the niche where we're going to get some traction from. It feels like what we lost on London Web Design Agency, we haven't completely lost it because we still do get some leads from London Web Design Agency, but I feel like we can now get that from Devstars as well. I think it will start happening for Devstars. So I'm very, I will naturally look on the positive side of things until things are so dire that and also I've got Edel giving me a kind of reality call from time to time.
Which is, what is she saying?
I think she's just saying that it's I think I think things have been tight here as far as money is concerned. Considering she earns 3 times what I earn, and it's but even with that, and with the mortgage rates, it has been very, very tight. And I think Devstars is an easy scapegoat, because it's not, because it isn't paying what Miles and I should be earning, really. We'll get there though.
So do you want to continue with Devstars?
Yeah.
Why so much of strife? Like, why? Get a nice job, right?
We've got lots of this coming up, Shweta. I'm flying to Jersey tomorrow, and we're going to spend a couple of days chewing the fat.
Doing more Devstars.
You know what, it's my other baby. And I think that I think we've got potential. I mean, I had this and also I feel like I learned a ton last year, and it's really nice to be able to try and put that into practice, and to see the results coming out of it, which I guess I was a little bit disheartened that I'm doing all of this stuff and learning all this stuff and still not seeing the results coming out of it. But I like you said, I probably need to focus on where we have been getting results, and the fact that considering everything that's gone wrong, as far as our biggest clients, 2 biggest clients folding, algorithm updates, Minsk, Belarus, Ukraine, global economy, and everything like that. We're fighting against a lot of things there, and still moving forward. So I feel like we should be kind of, you know, we've had a tough job to do, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now please pay attention, Stuart. Okay. Last year, I mean, that's not the case with the community overall, but I'm just saying for the overall business world, or the outlook for the last year, is maintaining your business level. Just maintaining your business level is like growing your business. Okay, because many businesses have not been able to just sustain or maintain, and they have been wiped out, or they're in a very, very dire situation. Okay, so you're right, there have been massive macro factors, global factors, you know, tech factors, but you have to remember that despite all those mega factors, you have not just maintained, you've actually moved forward by 18%. If you had that tailwind, your growth, bottom line and top line, would be at a much higher level. You have to choose to look at those green shoots, because if you don't, you might end up making a very wrong decision or impacting your health, which is just not worth it. Just not worth it. You should actually feel proud and take energy. And I'm not trying to motivate you, because I just don't believe in this temporary motivation. I believe in objectivity. I believe in resilience, and saying, is it worth the time and energy? That's the question you have to ask. When you guys sit together, ask this question saying, what is it that we want from Devstars? And is it worth our time and energy? Because you're not here to scrape some little income for yourself. You're here to have an asset. We've talked about it. And remember, before we met, you have told me in your own words that, Shweta, the business has been kind of there, floating, doing stuff, and now I really want to grow it, right? It has been just like, it's kind of there, and we have to stay true to our commitment. It can't be that one knock and we're like, oh yeah, oh God, I'm so tired. Because just when you're getting committed, just when you're putting yourself out there, universe has its own ways to check that, are you really committed, or was that just a motivational moment? So you have to really, really reflect on this, saying, is it worth my time and energy? Because life is finite. It's not short, it's not long, it's finite. Okay. And if you feel that I can stay committed and I have seen green shoots, and yeah, it makes sense for us to pursue this properly, then the next steps, I will let you know what you need to do. And you and Miles need to get those documents to the highest quality possible across to me and to Ishan. Okay? Assuming that you will say it's worth our time and effort. And why right now I'm obviously on that side in a strong way is because I've seen financial green shoots in the business.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the reason I'm saying, yeah, let's go for it. So number one is, I want you to capture, and Miles, I need high quality stuff from both of you when you're in Jersey. I need both of you to reflect on saying, what have been our top wins of 23 and the top learnings of 23? Two headings, wins and learnings. Learning could come from wins and from not so wins. And I want you to be hardcore, right? Absolutely drill into this, saying, what are the learnings we need to take forward and what are the wins we have had in 23? Okay, so what worked and what didn't work, and therefore what's the learning? You got it?
Yep.
Oh,
Make
yeah.
it as objective as possible, okay? As objective as possible. That's one. The second thing is, if you look at your P&L, which I know, you are more into it, Miles, but sure, I know you don't analyze your figures very closely, because I know that from day one, and I know you rely on Miles on that. That's fine. But I just want to show you something which I know is self-evident. So I'm sure Miles and you have already picked it up. Look. So I'm starting from here, Jan. Yeah. And 50, I remember this. So 39, just look at the performance. So again, as you said, strong first half of the year, amazing. This is where things started going a little pear-shaped, which is your quarter 3. Okay. September, pretty good. But then again, this is actually last 2 months have been pretty decent. 42, 42. Yeah, really actually good months. If you think about it, look at this number, 39, 31. And these last 2 months, you've done a good job. So if now I try to analyze, okay, what's going on with the margin? So I just added this another line, which is your margin. You can see this, right? Gross margin.
Mhm.
Can you see this, Stuart?
That is, yes.
Yeah, let me just try to expand this a little bit more. So I added this line, which is your gross margin. Okay. And I was just trying to understand what's going on. So earlier we were at around 67, 62, tanked here a little bit. This was 20 because obviously our top line came under pressure. But over the last 2 months, yeah, 48, 53. This was not very strong, but again, because of low turnover. But yeah, our margins are slightly, not slightly, but they are under pressure. I would say by at least by 6-7 percentage points. Miles, you're making note of that, right? 6-7 percentage points. In our first discussion and few other discussions which I've had with you guys personally, we talked about our pricing. Okay, and saying that having that confidence in pricing our products properly, our services properly, and then having the right margin. And again, I want you to put that in the mix as one of the core strategies to look at the pricing of our services and saying what's going on there, because there is a certain fixed cost that we're dealing with. After that, if I just go straight at the bottom and I look at your overheads here, if you look at this, sure.
Yep.
If I just average my first, say, as an example, if I average my first 5 months, it's 93 divided by 5, you're looking at what, roughly 18,000, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I look at these months, last 5 months, I'm at 98. It's similar.
Yep.
The issue is not in overheads at all. Okay, of course, we can trim a few things here and there, and we should, by the way. So I would want to see some trimmings, things which we built expecting increase in sales, as Miles pointed out, because I remember having that discussion. And remember, Miles, we were saying that production will hit its capacity. And while we are getting this business, so we need to build production capacity to get our sales delivered, right? So just rehash that, see in 24 what forecast needs to happen, but I need to look at your forecast here, as in what's the number that we are building here. Okay, so anything which is superfluous in terms of the team or any other, anything else, just make sure you deduct that. By the way, you will keep coaching fee inside that for the entire year. I'm very clear on it. So let's just see what's the overhead that we are looking at. Okay, that's simple exercise, but I'm showing it to you, Stuart, because overheads is not the issue here in terms of the first half of the year and second half of the year. And it's a good way to analyze the year, saying first half what happened, second half what happened. So now if I see what happened, so overheads is fine, it's fine, but I can see my margins are under pressure. Despite good months, I'm not delivering the same margin. So Miles, I'm just drawing your attention to something. So if I look at, for example, this month, January, I was at 50% margin. If I look at 51 April, I'm at 67%. May is 62%. So just use these kind of months to say, comparing these with my last 2 months. But again, I know some of them
and this is exactly where we come up with what we want to do for this year. Is those 2 months are full on branding, consultancy, whole shot. There is no expense in development or extra expense in development. You're not kind of squeezing your margins with trying to squeeze out your $35, $40 an hour development out of it.
Exactly. And I wanted to draw Stuart's attention because numbers give you the story. Now, if you look at this, Stuart, actually, we should feel good despite your algorithmic issues and everything with website development. Just check that out. Jan 30. 22, 25. Let me again do that. First 6 months average, I'll take 172 divided by 6. At the end. Sorry?
Isn't there a load of columns with the first 6 months, second
there
6
are,
months?
But I'm just showing it to Stuart on this one, right? So actually, if you look at the average, first 6 months we did 180. Here we're doing 150. But last 2 months, again, if you see 33, 34. It's fine. It's actually pretty decent. But here, yes, because of the algorithmic issues, things tanked. But we are back, and we are back on a good footing. Last 2 months better.
I mean, I think a lot of that web development income comes from Dash and some good ongoing clients that we've got. Where we struggled was that we bought in some really good work in the beginning of the year, on the consultancy side, and that was mainly through the LWDA, and then because that's gone, that's where we're
gone. Like July, June,
Yeah.
it dried out completely. It's gone, finished. And then you know from July onwards what has happened to the business. This is the big change, right? Website consulting income.
Yes.
This has gone from July onwards to this finished, wherein the average of the first 6 months, if I would, or 7 months, whatever, 6 months, it used to be how much? Roughly 12, 13,000. You go straight to the bottom line. And from July onwards, if you look at the state, we've gone negative.
Yeah.
That's it's as simple as that. So don't be like, oh my God, I've put in so much effort, and now what's going on? Your effort has what saved the business. That's why we're here today.
So Shweta, that consulting work that we got at the beginning of the year, that was to a large degree, that's we take on a web design and build, and we'll say to them, you need to do workshops, you need to do strategy, you need to do wireframes and prototypes and so on and so forth. And then off the back of that, then it goes into production, and we do all the stuff that we're probably not making as much money on. And we're starting to talk to companies now. We spoke to a company last week in Dubai, who's a big German kitchenware company based in Dubai, but selling to the Middle and Near East. And in our proposal to them, we said, actually, we should work with you first of all on a agile consultancy phase where we'll do workshops and we'll figure out, we'll do some blue sky thinking about lots of different ways to actually do it. And then we'll come up with a plan, and we can quote on it, and we can get other people to quote on it as well. But we'll have a solid plan of the best possible website that you could have, which they seemed very keen on. I'm hoping that one's going to come through, but we need to be selling more of that and separating that from the whole build work, because it will have a double result on that. One, we will end up with a document that is a lot easier for our external developers to quote on, so we won't have to do so much work on it. It will be a document that can be handed over, they can agree to it. If it costs or takes longer, then they will have to carry the cost for that. And two, if it goes somewhere else, then we can always maintain a consultancy relationship with them, and help guide them through it anyway, and move on to the next consultancy job. But I think that's, we need to, like I say to the beginning, we need to learn more about how we actually sell ourselves. I kind of have this vision that we could be an Accenture for small and medium-sized businesses, or I've seen the way that IBM work, and the way that a lot of these consultancy companies work with digital. How they'll, we've sat alongside them at Heathrow when we build the systems at Heathrow, and their consultants sit around with clipboards taking notes. And I don't know, it just feels like we need to figure out how to actually position ourselves in that way, that for digital transformation, and for we know all of this stuff. We know, we're in a position where we can be small enough and agile enough to come up with creative ideas that will help these companies.
Okay. So I'll give you two, three things in the mix, okay, for you to think through, and based on practical experience and looking at the results of the clients. Now, again, I'm just referring to first half of the year, or first 4 months of the year. You had told me very clearly, saying that, Shweta, I would like to focus on property companies and fintech companies, because Jersey is like highly dense with these companies. Now, I'm asking a simple question. By the end of the year, do we have any clarity as to what's our niche? Does it say on Devstars website? Do you claim that place saying this is us in this domain?
On Devstars website, we claim creative agencies and property companies as a niche. We don't.
Where do you claim? I'm on your Devstars. Where does it say?
Under services.
Okay.
So I haven't put anything up there for fintech. I'm just a little bit nervous. You know, I mean, I don't know how much we could shout about the work that we do on Monzo, considering it's through a creative agency.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to upset the creative agencies that we're actually working for on that front. Whereas I can talk to people in Jersey about those, you know, the fact that we're working on those sort of things, and I can send that information out as an email, but I wouldn't really kind of put it on the website at this moment.
Okay. Okay. So again, I'm just checking. So do we know what's our niche?
Yeah, property and creative agencies.
Okay. Property and creative agencies. Now, another thing I want to check in, and then I'll talk about the models very soon. We also then said we want to reach out to quite a few of creative agencies and obviously use them as our clients. So they are giving us work, and then we are obviously, it's like white labeling basically. So what has been the success in 23? If you look back, do you think that's the right model? Like, did we get some good success, good traction? How many meetings did we have, like in our sales process? And then how many conversions did we have? Not just saying, yeah, this is of interest, but actual qualified leads or appointments?
I don't think we got anywhere with it, really. I mean, it's, you know, we sent out about 20,000 emails to a combination of creative agencies and estate agencies, and the results that we got were from re-nurturing existing contacts. So you know, foundation, feel, and say and label, all three of those have been consistently given us work. We've reached out to other agencies that we've worked with in the past, and we're having conversations, but it's I don't know, it's been really hard to sort of try and sort of get in a lot of ways, we're trying to convince them that there's work to be had and there's new revenue streams that they could work with. I mean, I sit with a woman who runs an agency out of Bath with 20 designers who works on Warner Brothers and Harry Potter and Lego, and amazing company. And they will talk to us when they're ready to do their website. I've had several conversations with her about how they could be offering digital services.
Sure.
But you can take a horse to water.
To drink. And so
the other issue with the creative agencies is that I think a lot of them a lot of them have in-house support. A lot of them are kind of looking at the low-code, new-code, no-code solutions and trying bits themselves. So, but
and sometimes they're not getting enough business, so they want to keep their team busy. So they themselves are trying to do all this rather than saying there's an overflow, or we want to grow, or how do we white label your services? So I 100% agree, and therefore that strategy, I'm not saying whether you delete it or you keep it. So Miles, again, I'm looking at you along with Stuart. You should keep that objective lens on. And remember, at the start of the year, like 23, we had looked at all our lead channels. We said, okay, web form, emails, whatever, month on month, how many leads did we get, what we converted? You need to go back to that exercise. Second, if we know that our key campaign, for example, was our creative agencies. So again, saying, okay, month on month, how many appointments did we get? What were the conversions? If it was duck, 0, and what did we do to reach out? Was that cold call or whatever? So at least we can establish whether there was enough activity. If there was, but no outcome, we know we're not wasting our energy on this one, right? So don't worry about what we have to do for 24. First, I want you to look at 23 through numbers lens. Okay, through all the hard work that you've put into it, as you're saying, show me the numbers. And you yourself will then get the insight saying, okay, fine, what's going on here? What am I not going to do? Because you might not get the clarity of what you will be doing, but you will surely know what we are not going to be doing. A lot
I mean,
of.
I've got a ton, we have a ton of data in
Gather. I didn't see that in Miles' analysis at all. Miles gave me a very weak forecast for 24 and some 23 numbers. That's about it. But where is the intel? I need to lift up the hood now, and we need to look together as to what went on in 23, because you guys were absolutely brilliant in efforts, but just being more efforts and not effective is, yeah, that's not what we want, right? You get what I'm
we
saying.
got a lot. I mean, there was a lot of emails that were sent out of Apollo, a lot of
Amazing.
sequences.
I know.
And
It
we
didn't land.
can see what the opens are, but I mean
Cool.
the actual end results are
Super. So if you tell me, for example, saying, fine, let's just establish that we're not making a mistake. You can tell me that in January, we sent out 6 emails, Shweta, total to this much data points, like X number of data points, zero kind of, response or no qualified appointment, nothing happened. So just see the level of activity and the outcome. That's what you're trying to match here. And obviously we want to make it easy for ourselves, not very hard work. Okay, that's one. So 2023 data analysis of channels, activities, and the results. Very, very important. Then I want you to not worry about how, but first I want you to set the target for 2024. Okay, what is it that you want to achieve in 24? I'm talking about PNL. Okay, I'm talking about PNL here, Miles. What do we want to achieve? Don't worry about how will we do, what should we do, which
I've done a
sector.
pessimistic version.
Oh my God. I'm like, thanks, Miles. There was at least some growth there sitting.
It was a tiny bit.
I just wanted to hug you at that time. Like, Miles, you're in action.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll be pleased. But we need to get the profit up a bit.
I was so pleased. Yeah. Completely
Bit of
like
growth.
emoji there. Okay, 2024 team, what are we going to achieve? That's really important. Okay. Now, if I do simple number calculation, and I know Stuart will be like, what? No, not you, Stuart. Miles will go like, what? So on 550, if I were to apply just like what you guys did last year, it's around 650, 660 straight away. I want us to go for 700. That's my number. Okay, 700. That's my number. If you want to go higher, go for it. If you want to go for 750 or whatever, go for it. But that's my base level. 700 is what we're gunning for. Okay. Work backwards. And now if whatever that number is, I'm just putting it in the mix. Okay. You decide, Stuart. But I want you to enjoy the bloody process. It's like fucking hard, but I'm choosing to enjoy. That's what I want from you as that solid guy. Okay. So you put that number out there and then you say, okay, if this is what we have to achieve, now let's think, and is it worth achieving? And then think, how are we going to achieve it? Right? So we're sitting at 550, we're gunning for 700. We know what's the leap we have to take and how are we going to achieve that? Okay.
That's 60K a month.
Yeah, whatever. And it's not going to be 60, 60, 60, right? It's going to ramp up. That's fine. Or you might have a target saying, you know what, actually, Miles, let's build it up nicely because we need to figure out a few things. Let's build it up nicely. But the last quarter, I want it to be pro rata 700. Do it like that.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, you set your target. But by the end of the year, the last quarter, for sure, I want it to be pro rata 700. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So just to explain, hold on, 700 divided by 4. I'm looking at last quarter to be 175.
Yeah.
That's it. Your previous quarters could be 120, 120, 140. I don't care. My last quarter has to be 175. Got it? Sure. That's the mandate, which means next year we are set for doing 700, 800 kind of number. Okay. I want us to be in 1 million. I'm not kidding. In a couple of years' time, I want us to be in that 4% club, whatever it takes. So that's what Miles we are planning. If you feel, Shweta, if we have a leeway of not doing 700, then last quarter we can go for 750 or 700. You decide, but we need to be in sevens for sure. Okay.
Okay.
Then now what are we going to be doing? Stuart, getting creative agencies on board is very difficult. Okay, until unless you've got a currency leverage or talent leverage. Yeah, you know what I mean? So
No.
like agencies sitting in India, Philippines, South Africa, whatever, they can pitch to UK or US agencies saying, give it to us, we'll do it for you, because there is a currency leverage
All right. Okay.
or talent leverage. Sitting in UK, sitting in Jersey,
Yeah.
we don't have currency leverage, and talent is there, but you know what, it's like people want to see what's the currency leverage. So it's like, why will an agency have us on board? And if you've done the whole year of hard work, not much success, really think hard, saying what is our proposition? Even if you're amazing, but they need to save money. Everybody wants to save money and get more growth. Okay, so that's one thing.
Yep.
Now I'll just give you a couple of thoughts to think through, and then we will talk more about this, saying what's our game plan for 24. Miles and Stuart, on our website, in our outbound approach, in your signature, whatever you can think of, now you need to start owning a domain, okay? A vertical. And we have to go deep and narrow. So super narrow and super deep. We're doing kitchen installation, we're doing beauty, we're doing hairdressers, we are doing tech, we're doing property, we're doing all kinds of stuff. It's like, I actually don't know what do we really stand for. Okay, so I know it will sound very scary, but you will start saying no to many, many things, but you will be like the go-to person. And over the next 2 to 3 years, we are going to be the go-to agency for that narrow vertical that we will define for ourselves. Okay?
Okay.
That's one. Now, I will maybe just bring up a few things. So I'm just bringing up Byte IT marketing. You guys have met Vanessa. She never has a problem. She never has a problem of getting the leads. That's not her problem. Conversion is not a problem. Her issue is more about getting the right talent. They stand for technology sector, big time. That's what she owns. And the whole channel marketing and PR agency, that's what this business does. Okay, I'm just showing you an example.
Yep.
Red Box, I don't know if you've met Rob.
Yeah.
Right? We, before we met, and again, literally till the end of the first year, again, just like you, the business was like all over the thing. Yeah, we're doing everything, website development for everyone out there. And we said, no, we need to develop a niche. And interestingly, when we did the analysis of the business, as in what kind of clients they were working with and where did they get that client from and who was the good paying client and all that stuff, you can see it from here. This is what we developed. A very clear proposition. We are going to get you 4 times more leads from your website within the first 90 days. And where we are focusing is industrial equipment and machinery website specialists. That's what it is. Okay, and then you can go through, if you want, all that stuff. But basically, it's industrial equipment and machinery. Our target this year, and I can give you exact numbers, I'm sure Rob would be fine, but business was at a similar level as yours, 400. This year, as in last year, they have crossed 700 in terms of the revenue. Sorry, they crossed 600. And then this year, we're gunning for 750. Okay, that's the number. And again, I'll tell you a little bit more about the model here, what else we are doing. So this business was, again, earlier, they were like, we will do social media. Let's also do, consultations. Let's do bespoke, all that bit. And then we said, okay, hold on. What are we trying to build here? It was very clear. We want to have asset value, right? When you sell the business, you should have good value. That's what you both want here. So for that, Miles, the business needs to be easy. It's recurring income. We all understand that. So on the basis of analysis and discussion, Stuart, what we agreed is that, look, when people come to you, they don't come for general consultation or give us marketing knowledge. They come because there is a specific problem. In their case, the specific problem has been our website is shit, not working. We're not really getting any business from our website, or that it's not even projecting the right image for our business, right? Now, if you think about industrial and engineering, they are technical people. They're not really marketing savvy. Their websites are not very good, and they can potentially get a lot of business and have the right brand image to attract the right kind of clients and prospects. So there's a clear gap sitting there and clear need sitting there. So we said, okay, fine. Our entry point is primarily website development. That's the key point of pain, and that's how we get into businesses. Once we do website development, as a marketer, you would understand people then need SEO and PPC. On the back of that, they obviously end up selling their recurring marketing package, which is SEO and PPC bundle. And just that recurring business, if you were to see, that itself will fetch Redbox a multiple of 8 to 10 just on that SEO and PPC recurring monthly, and obviously one of their website developments, and then the hosting, which you obviously have, even we have, right? Like as in Devstars has. So keeping the model simple, saying, actually, it's going to be website and we're having SEO and PPC package, or like Byte IT saying we're going this in this vertical and we'll be doing channel marketing for them. Because the other issue, interesting bit with the tech sector where she is, and she has a huge background there, is that they are given certain budgets and they have to spend that budget in a year, and they're looking for a good agency to work with. So there's a different kind of a market sitting there, and it's difficult to penetrate that. If you
I think there's I think that, yeah, I mean, Miles and I will talk about this over the weekend, because there's I still think that, you know, we can work with, in Jersey, the rates are much higher for web development, and there's a thriving technology fintech industry here. There's the law, accounting, family businesses. You know, there's a lot of those types.
I'll come to another one.
Yeah.
So you also know Exogen. You've met Exogen, right?
5
minutes you have, or do you need to run to pick up Oliver?
I'm going to have to drive in 3 minutes to pick up Oliver. I just wanted to give you a warning.
No worries. So very
quick.
quick.
To my phone and listen.
Yeah, no worries. I will be wrapping it up as well. Don't worry. Just very quickly. So Exogen, for example, when we were recently doing the exercise, we realized in their case, again, interestingly, they had quite a bit of presence in construction sector and property sector. Just the way you talked about Jersey, but again, it's not like a new vertical. They have been present in this through e-commerce websites. We don't do e-commerce here. We, as in Devstars, is not focusing on e-commerce. It's different kind of website that we're looking at. But again, thinking about saying, why property? Because people develop these property and now they need to sell. They need to obviously have sell-through of these blocks or apartments. And that's why they need a really good website, which can get them that business generating. These are not brochure websites. So what I want to leave you both here is, and really reflecting on the clients that we have had in the past over 2 to 3 years, especially chunky clients, profiling them. Just make a list of them, saying, where did we get these clients from? What was the size of the project? What were they looking for? What was the pain? And then saying, okay, did we do a cracking job? Did we also get any other recurring business on the back of it? Why are we not narrowing them? Because we have good case studies. We have got good legacy between like the credibility. Why are we not then following these 1 or 2 verticals? That's what I want you guys to identify. And then we're just going to consulting, just going with consulting, Stuart, I can tell you, doesn't work. I've had clients in the past. They have done exactly what you've talked about. It doesn't fly. You have to say, for example, I'll quickly tell you, if you're clear they're looking for a website, you will say, fine, we'll develop the website for you. But the first part of that will be deep dive or discovery or whatever you want to call that. And then we're going to develop this. And then we are going to bring your website out there through marketing. That's how you will have to build up. But if you say consulting, no, people don't get it. It's too broad. They just feel they'll be wasting time. Okay, in this case. So leaving you with these thoughts, action points very quickly, 23 learnings and wins, 23 data analysis miles of all the channels and all the activities that we've done, getting intel drawn out. And the third one is doing forecast of 24, deciding what's the number, what's the target. And then I want you to identify by profiling our last 2 to 3 years of clients, big ones, to find what does Devstars need to stand for? Which vertical do we want to dominate, basically? Deep and narrow. Yep. Are we clear on this? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. I'm not going to give you 2 weeks. You have this week. I'm expecting some proper documents and analysis by next week. Is that okay?